You need like a little launcher that will like launch everything.
I know. There's my Farrago, my little soundboard app. Ready?
Yep.
You're listening to the antsmarching.org podcast, the new brand of AM radio.
You like that? You like that addition?
Oh man. Okay. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. It is a beautiful Sunday, sunny afternoon here. It's like 80 something outside of Seattle. Joe, are you dehydrated today after all that vinegar and salt intake yesterday?
Is that what it is? I do feel a little dehydrated. I didn't really know if that was what it was from, but I guess probably is. There's a lot of drinking involved too. So.
Any true pickle pickle lover is going to definitely have some of the dehydration the next day.
Should have wore my pickle shirt, but I have a different shirt on today to represent to another topic we're going to talk about later.
Was the pickle shirt not ironed?
I actually did iron it before yesterday. It gets wrinkled very easy. It's like one of those cotton ones that like.
Is it a t-shirt?
Yeah, it's a t-shirt.
And you iron t-shirts?
What? It's got wrinkles in it. You iron wrinkles. You don't. It doesn't matter what it is. You iron the wrinkles out. Matt's making a face for those that don't have the video.
Yes. Hello to all of our channel subscribers on YouTube Live. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being here with us. This is episode 96 of the Ants podcast. We are quickly approaching the centennial mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think we've thrown around some ideas about what we want to do for it, right? Maybe a little look back,
a little retrospective, perhaps. Little Ants Live 25, where actually it's 28, and maybe one of the tracks is wrong. I don't know.
Wow, harsh.
Yeah.
It's better than it being less than 25. Then you might be a little bit upset.
I'm feeling
a lot has happened
harsh.
over 100 episodes.
I'm feeling a little harsh today. Not too grouchy, but we'll see. After last episode, I came out of it very optimistic, and
I loved you on the last episode.
The cautiously optimistic, the cautiously part, I think, is proven out. I guess we'll get there. But we have had 4 shows since the last podcast this week. We had Jones Beach, which is always under threat of weather. It seems like every year. Holmdel, New Jersey, Raleigh, which was the third out of 4 July Friday night concerts live streamed, and Virginia Beach, which was just last night. And we will get to all of that. But first, we wanted to bring up, like Joe alluded to, the sad part of the episode, the post-mortem here. Joe, what are you sad about?
Oh, I can't even talk about it.
It's bad.
It's bad, but yes, we need to remember a lost friend, or a friend we're about to lose, and that is Mono Loco. For those that don't know, Mono Loco is the best little Mexican restaurant right off of the Charlottesville, Virginia walking mall that we have held a number of Ants parties at, and other gatherings and dinners. Sadly announced this week that they will be shutting the doors, and sucks to see a place like that go. It's had so many good memories.
Yep. Absolutely the best guacamole I've ever had in my life, period. That's been said before, but let it be said again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, our friend Michael, who basically de facto ran, just managed the place, and just an incredible chef on his own right. He's gone on to move on to different things, but that was a while ago, right?
That he moved on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
6
maybe
months?
6 months, maybe a year. Not too long, but yeah, a little bit of time.
Yeah, so not sure if it strictly is tied with that, but it comes up so closely after he moved on, where they probably figured they'd give it a shot without him running it, and it just wasn't. It wasn't the same. It wasn't loco enough. I guess.
I mean, he had been there forever. There's a couple people that we've worked with there that have been there for a long, long time. So sad to see the place close, and hopefully they can bounce back and find some new gigs here quickly.
Absolutely. Alicia, just to name one, have been so instrumental in making those Ants parties happen. I remember, what was the first party? Was it 06 or 09?
I was trying to look that up. I'm terrible at remembering that. So they've played.
The big one was '09.
That's what I thought.
It was because the first big party we did was '08 in West Palm Beach.
Yep.
That's why.
And I remember we had been there first and didn't do the party the first time. We kind of, the three admins were there and kind of did the town together, and then we made it a much bigger thing the next time we were there. But yeah, they were there in '06, '09, 10, 12, and then for that special concert in 16. So, or no, that was the special concert was at
that was 16.
It was at DMB 25, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So
we did parties what years then? 9
and 16, right? I don't think we had big parties outside of 9 and 16 at Mono Loco.
Can't remember. Why not? Why didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the cross country for me, and I don't know. Logistically, it's expensive. It takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's hard to pull together. I was excited when we did it for 16 because that was also the launching of the DMB Hub app.
That was a launch party.
That was a launch party for the app, so that was pretty cool. So we did that at Mono Loco,
which is
I mean,
it's not just say side note, which is rocking right now. I mean, development wise, I'm on fire with it. We're adding stuff all the time, and people seem to be really loving it. And the traffic in it is way up, and people are using the crap out of it. And it's been fun to develop. We'll talk more about that later. But back to Mono Loco for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking my Mono Loco shirt, which is now going to be vintage, I guess, which is sad. But I sometimes wear these to shows, or at least tailgating. Like to represent Mono Loco. Sometimes you see one too. I don't know if you remember how we got tied in with Mono Loco back in the day. But I think we were working with management, right. And obviously a lot of management is local in Charlottesville, and there we were kind of wondering, hey, what kind of place is DMB adjacent? Right? We weren't going to be doing this at Miller's. If you've never been to Miller's is super small.
Yeah.
Not really made to be able to hold a large amount of people. And, Corin, band's lead manager, owns a lot of restaurants in downtown Charlottesville. So we looked at a couple different ones related to that. Ended up, some people were friends with Michael, connected us up with Michael. And, we kicked it off from there. I remember one of the years that we were in Charlottesville and got to listen to, what album did we get to listen to early in Charlottesville? Do you remember?
Oh, that was Big Whiskey. That was Big Whiskey.
What year? So that would have been.
That was 09.
Okay, so that was right before. That was before.
Yep.
Before other party. I know we had done some dinners at Mono Loco, even outside the parties. It's a great place. Sad to see it go. It won't be just because Mono Loco is gone. If we decide to hold another party in Charlottesville, which let's cross our fingers, we have the opportunity to do. We will definitely find a new place to do it at.
Most definitely, yeah. And they they hooked us up with Michael, and so the budget for food was small. I mean, there's not like there's a lot of money floating around, so we pitched in what we could and said, okay, would this amount be okay? And it was a small amount, and
oh, I remember this. Yes.
We're not talking about chips and salsa that was coming out. They were bringing out empanada. They were bringing out like appetizer quality food. Just bin after bin after bin. They just kept it going. And we had that night, we did a sign-in for the party on Ants, and I still have that database, which is great. And if I look up the sign-in here is there's 527 ants who signed in.
Nice.
And there is a number of +1, +2, +3 guests. So, I mean, at any given point of the night, we had over 700 people in this place. I don't know whatever the capacity is. It's not that.
No.
The fire marshal came by late night and basically was throwing all kinds of shade to try to shut it down. It was. Because
there was a line. There was a line out that was
down the block
into the street. I think that was complicating things.
Yep. So it was just so much fun. What I liked about that party was cool is we had it after night 1 of a 2-night stand. And what was cool is that we had it after the concert. So by that time, dinner service was over. And so the restaurant was able to basically clear out, reset, and they knew when the show was over, and they knew when we'd be coming. And so we got out of there like a couple songs early. I think we bailed out, took a wahoopty, which I don't think they're not in business anymore, but we took a wahoopty, which if you're not familiar, not from the Seville area, they were these old vintage cars that were all dollied up and brought back into service, and they were kind of like private taxis.
Well, they were like old limousines, and some of them too.
Yeah. So we took the Wahoopty back, and that way we were able to get ahead by about 20 minutes. Everybody coming over, and for our first like super organized party and that many people, we did okay.
Hugely successful. Yeah, it was cool that we had the check-in. I mean, we didn't really ever do that before, and the main reason I think we did it, we wanted to, recognize people that were there, but we also had a ton of prizes to give away.
That's right.
We had tons of prizes. We had to figure out how do we do that. So we just had like this old laptop sitting up on the bar at Mono Loco, and you had to know about it. I think maybe we advertised or something, but that's just the people that found the laptop and typed in their username and clicked check in, and I don't even know that everybody did that. So, and we never really did that since, which is a shame because it's cool to really know, who's been there, who's gone to one of the parties. Probably worth the trouble. It's a little bit of effort to pull that off, but it's probably worth it in the long run to have a sign-in sheet at some of our parties.
Yeah, it was, I believe we spent the next day before the show. When they signed in, they had to provide their cell phone number. And so the next day we did the drawing essentially, because that night it was just chaos. We couldn't give anything away that night. The next day we did the drawing, and then we basically compiled a list of all the prizes people won and their phone numbers, and we went to work chasing them down, leaving voicemails. And we ended up, I think, later that day before the show was at Buffalo Wild Wings, or was it even the day after the second show, I think also, right?
Mainly it was the day before the second show.
Okay.
During the day, we just kind of hung out and drank and ate and just said, hey, show up at BW3s, you're a prize winner, come during these couple hours.
Yep. It
was cool to meet people.
That was
some
fun.
of the people you didn't really get time to spend with at the party just because there were so many people. So it was cool to get some one-on-one time with some other additional people.
Yeah. So it's bittersweet. It's nice to think about and reminisce about that party and all of our other times at Mono Loco. Awesome, but sad that we're talking about it because the end is nigh on that place. Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's too bad. Yeah, we'll live in good memory, and I'm gonna pour one out.
Oh.
For Mono Loco, maybe pour one in my mouth, one of the two. And I have two here. Can I ask you for which one I should have?
I'd love to offer that opinion.
Okay, here's what I got. You ready?
Yeah.
I got two Rheingeist Brewing Company.
Cincinnati beer, huh?
Yeah, very popular around here. Gets good turnout. So they're both IPAs. So that's not going to help you with deciding.
It's not.
There's description on the back, but I'm not going to go into it. 6%, the one that's called Streaker, and with 60 IBU, and the Truth is 7.2% alcohol with 75 IBU. So that gives you a little bit of idea.
One, I would say get their contact information because DMB Hub's Gone Streaking badge might have a claim on the Streaker can. It's called Streaker, which means they're obviously stealing from us, clearly. I'm saying go with the Truth because bigger is better.
I like it.
In Texas and Cincinnati.
And I was going to say something inappropriate, but we'll just drink.
Crack that thing.
Cheers.
There you go. Cheers, buddy.
To Mono Loco.
To Mono Loco. Yes. Anyway, I guess we'll go back to these four shows. So the first show after SPAC, and I think this is one that really, what is coming, because they just came off a pretty solid 2-night stand. They were really seeming to get into the spirit of breaking out debuts. But that had been going on for, a week and a half or so prior to that. So we were, okay, maybe we're getting a pattern here where this tour's kind of turned on its ear. We've turned a corner. So Jones Beach comes round, and of course there's a major storm before the show. So I guess there was a question of whether or not even they would go on that night, and we're thinking maybe Jiffy Lube Live all over again.
Yeah, I think it was timed right to come into their story. I think it came a little bit earlier, so they had enough time to to be prepared for everyone to come, but it was a nasty looking storm, all red. So yeah, they were able to pull it off, even with all that rain. And I'm wondering if it affected the show, because the opener of the show, in fact, the set list, because the opener ended up being JTR. And did Dave, factor the rain for once? I think I complained in the last pod that it seems like your rain affected shows don't get a response from the band when they used to. Was JTR picked because of that rain?
I would normally say yes, but given that it came back recently, it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe did it open because of it, or was it played period because of it?
That's a good point. That's a good question too. Maybe, yeah, could be both. Could be one or the other.
Right.
Maybe it was going to get played and they moved it up.
I'm just happy it got played. Talk about a criminally underplayed song historically.
So it ends up being the least played tour song for the show. No song was played least at that show other than JTR, with just 2 plays so far this tour. The next was Hunger, Rhyme and Reason, and Dig in a Ditch, with 3 plays this tour, also appeared at that show. So few good selected songs.
Was there anything sprinkled in that had not been played in a while?
Yeah, I mean, though, not played in a while. So the one that was the longest that had not been played in a while, that was 7, which hadn't been played for 17 shows, or over a month it hadn't been played. So kind of a good thing, I would think. It's nice to break up 7. So It had been away for a little while, and that was the one that got played that hadn't been played recently.
So, thoughts on this show, thoughts on this?
It's an interesting venue. If you haven't seen this venue, it's right on the water, completely open air, super steep. It's all like seating, super steep. Just kind of a weird thing. Like, most of the seats you're above like what you would even be for SPAC Pavilion. You're just super high, looking down. I kind of think of it like Red Rocks, where a lot of the seats you're like looking down from the top. So it's interesting from observing the show or the light show. I think it's a decent show. What's kind of special about it is they got quite a bit of guests at the show. A lot of guests came out for a bunch of songs. And some of the guests were ones that played with Dave and Tim. I think it was Dave and Tim when Dave did that hurricane benefit in New York City. Some of the musicians were ones that played during that. But that was kind of nice. I think Jimmy Thing got it. Come On, which that might be the first time we have a guest on Come On. Would have to look that up, but I think so.
I think that's likely, yeah.
Yeah, Rhyme and Reason and What Would You Say, all getting guest instrumentals on them. So that's pretty sweet.
That is cool. And that's one thing that doesn't get factored into any kind of rarity either, is that when a guest plays on a song, it's just one of those things that you kind of have to be there to catch it. From a rating standpoint, it doesn't show up in terms of show flow unless, maybe someone gives it a +1. The show is warmly rated. I would say it's a 3.86 average rating on Ants. By the way, on Tour Central, we changed from these graphical star ratings to actual number. So before, if the show was rated 4.0 or a 4.49, you would see 4 stars, right? You wouldn't see that 4.5 stars. So now we got rid of the graphics and we're just showing raw numbers now. You can
a lot of people like that.
And you can now sort. You can sort by the rating too, as well as the show flow and your show flow too on your own personal stats. So just a little tip there. But yeah, it's a 3.86, which is, I would say, pretty objectively low for a show. Usually, if it drops below 4, it's not that well received. The show flow rating on it is 32. The show flows this tour are really, really weird. Like, the first night of SPACs, the rating was 4.57, high rating, and a 4.43 for night 2. Night 1 had a 48% show flow, which when you're around 50, it's actually quite positive. Mm-hmm. Night 2 is 34. So, I mean, and people, I don't think you'll find anybody who says that Jones Beach was better than SPAC Night 2. So, but yeah, JTR being the rarest song there. So, not too much of a statement after SPAC, I would say, one way or the other. Whether, hey, they
didn't pull out anything. Wasn't like, hey, we were holding something back for Jones Beach. It's like, yep, we got a little tapped out at SPAC. JTR, we're gonna play it again. That's still very fresh. It's only the second time played, so that's nice. But wasn't like we got any tour debuts or anything in particular. But the guests, that's a nice ad. And I don't think I mentioned this on the last pod, but I happened to run into at the venue at SPAC a horn player, I believe it was saxophone, that was possibly going to play at SPAC as a guest, and did not end up playing because there was concern that the show was being live streamed on YouTube. This is for night 2, and that would affect, that could influence, if there would be a guest or not. So it wasn't sure if he was going to get played. Turns out he didn't. So if we learn anything from that, it's kind of like if we see that the show is going to be live streamed, particularly at YouTube, that it might be unlikely that we'll see.
Is it a rights thing?
Show. Is it a what?
Is it a rights thing? Like
I think so. I think it's
royalties, or
I think it's more band image. I think you get limited opportunities to showcase the band. Like if, for instance, like on late night TV, like that, you just want to have the band members there and help with that. This is the band image. These are the people that are in the band. You have guests appear in those kind of situations. It, I think, maybe complicates the band image, or people get confused. Like, is that somebody that's part of the band or not part of the band? So I think maybe they're a little bit selective on those opportunities, just to say this is the core band.
Interesting. Well, speaking of guests, Holmdel, New Jersey, the next show after that, on the Wednesday night, brought us Robert Randolph showing up on Cornbread. That's the only guest, save for the other guest. And you want to mention that really quick? We get a lot of comments on Twitter typically after we post the set list to the site and to Twitter, and it says, "Hey, you should, a bunch of know-it-alls out there. Hey, take Buddy off as guest." Well, okay.
Yeah, people see. So when we post out the set lists, we list by choice Buddy Strong as a guest on the set list, and people say Buddy is not a guest. So there's some thought to this. It isn't just that we are being silly and not including it. We've set a standard, and as the band did for the longest time too, when there was new touring members of the band, even on the band's website, they would record them for the first year as a guest. Usually they would say all songs. Even if it wasn't, they would just say all songs. And we matched that, and we continued to match that. And I think it's actually pretty important, because I think there's still probably a lot of people out there that this is their first exposure to Buddy. Maybe not everybody listening to this podcast, but people that frequent the website may not really realize who that person was, or that was the first time seeing him. And I think it's good that we kind of highlight, hey, this is new. Buddy is a new person. You see there now, goes into year 2, year 3. Yes, that he's now a more official touring member. We don't need to record him as a call out as a separate band member. But yeah, we're just sticking with tradition, how we've done it for past guests for the first year that they've joined as a touring member, how the band has done it in the past on their set list reports, and helps give people some, helps get Buddy some recognition as being a new part of the band.
Yeah, and look at it this way. Let's say Buddy was a 1-year experiment, right? Let's say they don't decide to go out with him next year, and we have not tagged him as a guest or anything. Well, clearly you saw something different, a different iteration of the band. You saw a guest that year. And right now, given that it's year 1, like you said, Joe, we just treat it that way, and it is a bit of a tradition. But yes, we're aware that Dave's come up and said the newest member of our family. But as it stands, we're just following convention up to this point.
Yep,
good explanation.
Awesome touring member, and I think he's been an awesome ad, and he's been great. I talked to you, Matt, about this, and I'm going to use my opportunity to sell it.
Uh-oh.
One that I'm really, really a fan of, and I can't get enough of it now, is Buddy's intro to When the World Ends.
Did you say When the World Ends and you can't get enough of it? Because I've already had enough.
You haven't even heard it yet. You still probably haven't even listened to it.
I heard it when they started playing it in 2001.
No. You have to hear this intro. It's only like 30 seconds long, but it is the bomb. I want him to play more of it, and it actually adds a lot to the song too. If anything, it might be a little bit too Buddy heavy. It's not, because they've only played it twice this entire year, so it's very, very underplayed. It's very rare. Buddy is prominent throughout the song, And I like it for right now. If they started playing When the World Ends a lot, or the trend continued for a couple years and Buddy's still with them and he's still playing the same way, I might get to the point where I'm like, geez, turn Buddy down on this particular one because it's a lot. Right now, I like it because it's fresh.
Will you be bringing a When the World's End signed to Gorge and holding it up?
I've never brought a sign before. Can you believe that? I've never. That's not my.
No,
not
I
my
can
style.
believe it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad.
But let me see if I can. It's so good. I wish people would help get it back. I posted that I wanted him to expand on it. So, can you hear it at all? And then you see they cut into it. So that was just from the D&B Hub right there.
Oh,
little
okay.
quick play.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's cool, little funky little thing.
They even went into. I was afraid I was going to cringe when they went into it, like that they were going to completely hand botch it. And that was actually kind of smooth.
Yeah, and that was the first time they did it. So that was from Blossom, Cuyahoga Falls,
Because
Ohio.
I will say one of the things I don't like about World End, When the World Ends, is the beginning. Just that. It's just ugh. Yeah, that was cool.
Gets better as the song goes on. Yeah. So they only played it then. That was the first time, so it sounded great. I mean, for being the first time they played it, and they played it once more in Cincinnati, I believe, and that's it. And it hasn't come back, and that's a really cool opportunity to show Buddy off and the other band members play. So you got me on a tangent. We're talking Buddy as a guest, but I really want that to come back some more. I'm less focused on it being when the world ends come back, and maybe just kind of expand that intro.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is nice. What does it have to do with When the World Ends? It sounds nothing like, it's not keyed off of that or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I could listen to them go up there and roll out with that for 5-10 minutes. Go for it.
Right? Yeah, that'd be a cool little, like, I don't know, do it at some point. I mean, hey, if we have to have When the World Ends, I'll take it. For right now, I'll take the package deal if that's what it has to be. So I'm all aboard. I'm all about this. I'm like I posted on Buddy's Instagram, like, any way to get this expanded on. Can you and the band expand on this? I would love to hear more of that. But Buddy's been killing it this year. Sorry for the tangent.
There you go. I like it. Oh, well, so you got Raven, Watchtower, and Time Bomb all songs that had only been played, including that night, twice. So those are the fewest. And then the song that showed up with the longest layoff at that point was, again, Watchtower, which was 11 shows prior, so 19 days ago. So, we didn't get any tour debuts.
No tour debuts.
But they did sprinkle in some of the songs that are definitely more crowd pleasers that they have not been playing. Watchtower, Raven. I don't know if I'd throw Time Bomb in there, but Time Bomb at least is a diversity pick for sure.
Yeah, diversity. I mean, Robert Randolph on Cornbread.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really given this any thought, but Robert Randolph has to be within the top 5 guests of D&B, right? He's really good with the band.
In top 5 in terms of like preference?
Of like just the top 5 of like great guests.
Oh.
If you're gonna rank top D&B guests.
Oh, I'd have to say so. Yeah.
It's got to be up there in the top 5 somewhere. I'm not
It's
sure where. In the top 5, but
super unique. In terms of the instrument and just the style that you get and the energy. Yeah.
Energy is amazing.
Yep.
Energy is amazing. The band loves playing with them. I think it's awesome. So that's a really cool performance to get is Robert Randolph with Cornbread. It's interesting as they've been playing Robert on other songs. Cornbread, and it was like Cornbread at the night before the Super Bowl show. He guested there, and it probably was Cornbread there too. I'm having a bad time remembering, but it's interesting that they're picking him for that and not Louisiana Bayou, which was traditionally the song he always played on, and also the song that this has been the second most song. I think it's second most song outside of any Come Tomorrow song. It might be the number one non-Come Tomorrow song I think it's the first non-Come Tomorrow song that's been played all tour. He's not guesting on that, which is very, very surprising to me. But Cornbread's a great one for him. He has a blast. And I heard some of the clips from the show with Robert, and amazing. I'd be jealous.
Very
see
cool.
him more.
That moves us on to Raleigh, which was a Friday night show, again, live streamed on Sirius, which, if the band could do some kind of, I don't know if it'd be Sirius related, but if they could get somehow, this more regular, whether it's via their YouTube page or whatever, people are really loving the live streams. And so it's something that would be awesome if it stuck around. We got two tour debuts.
There's a lot of couch tour people out there. Sorry to interrupt. A lot of couch tour people. We're part of that too. And if you can expand on the couch tour and actually get some audio from it, that makes it that much better. And I think some people just put it on the background. You might be sitting outside or playing a little chicken pig, or hanging out with the family. You got it on the background, and then all of a sudden something interesting happens. You turn it up a little bit louder. But yeah, I like the live stream. It's gonna be sad. We only got one more here coming up with West Palm, but we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, for sure. So two tour debuts. We've got Every Day pops up after a little bit of a layoff, 62 shows since the last one. It's always weird when you go by calendar dates in this tour because it is their first tour since the year off. Mm-hmm. So, and then the year off even included a bunch of Dave and Tim shows. So it's kind of like when you look at when the last time Every Day it was played, sometime in 2017. Oh, wait, I thought they weren't touring. So it's tough to really gauge just how long it's been. 62 shows it's basically a full tour worth of shows, more or less. Yep. Which not exactly liberation, but hey, it's a tour debut. And they opened with it. They opened with Every Day, which is interesting. I'll take that over Do You Remember? I'll tell you that. And Proudest Monkey, which has been gone for about equally a long amount of time, 67 shows. What's interesting to me is its quote-unquote absence with the frequency in which we're getting satellite this tour. Because usually it's peanut butter and jelly with those guys.
I know. Usually,
I'm okay with it.
Paired together.
Because I like Monkey all by itself, and I'm tired of satellite. So instead of getting two together and here comes satellite, well, great. I get to see this for the seventh time, and then I'm going to get Proudest Monkey. It adds a little variety there, so that's good.
But might it be something new now? It was satellite just replaced, and it's going to be the same. So Proudest Monkey goes into Samurai Cop.
Oh,
so could that be the new pairing? That we're now, when you hear Proudest Monkey, you're likely to hear Samurai Cop after it, based on how
you're going to hear Samurai Cop anyway. That show, and you know what? If I can get a 2-for-1 and get it out of the way, and know that the remainder of the show, I don't have to worry about Samurai Cop hitting me, I'm okay with that, I think.
You know what? You got your pre-advanced, like you get a little set list tip. You're like, okay, Samurai Cop is coming next, so here's your chance to
do basically anything, anything else, than sit there in anticipation.
Right, waiting for it.
We got our second stone of the tour, and I know my sister was seriously bummed that they did not get the stone at SPAC, and she was saying, I want to hear the stone. And I said with some confidence, I go, you're going to hear it. Like, no doubt. They will not miss 2 nights at SPAC. Well, they had recently broken it out.
True.
And so I'm like, well, this is, the way the band is, they play something they haven't played in a long time, and they usually then almost overdo it sometimes, but certainly 2 nights at SPAC, it's a great song. You're going to get stoned.
I wouldn't have been that confident. Like, surely you'll hear it. I would say, hey, it has good odds.
Well, I had nothing riding on it either. It was easy for me to say.
Versus everything you said, I would believe. I just wouldn't have surely. I like that it didn't get played at SPAC, actually. I love that song. It's one of my top songs. I wanted to hear it at SPAC, but the fact that it wasn't, I think, was a good thing. It helps and gets played now a few nights later. So I like that. That's
okay.
SPAC missed out on something in that sense.
For once.
They
had a bad year 4 or 5 years ago, I think I remember, too, that even then it was a disappointing 2-night stand. But overall, we were talking about this before we went live, that they do get better shows fairly consistently. I feel like since I moved out here, and I'm not saying to draw any correlation there, but just so happens, like '09 time frame, it seemed like those 3 nights at the Gorge did not guarantee you 3 explosive rockin' nights in terms of set list craziness, where it seemed like in the mid-2000s, man, 3 nights at the Gorge, you were going to get some stuff that was just going to blow your mind. It feels like, yes.
Are you saying that SPAC will eventually become the Gorge?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what the deal with the Gorge is lately. I don't.
Yeah.
But, hey, at least I saw Road 3 times in a row.
I played that at tailgate recently.
How'd that go
for
over?
anybody that really wanted it. I mean, I don't know what else was notable. I think probably one of the most notable things about that rally show was, I think it was Coffin posted a Instagram picture like the day before the show, hanging out with Bradford Marsalis.
Yeah.
And so I was like, ooh, we've been very happy with all of his performances, and I don't know. There's not a lot, so it's hard to say could he be in one of those top 5 guest spots. I mean, he's a personal favorite. I don't know that he's quite at the same level of Robert Randolph, but I was really hopeful he would make an appearance at the show. You know, it turns out the show is being live streamed. So again, this is just the audio live stream. So does that influence it? I think it's more about video live stream, but nonetheless, it's being live streamed. So unfortunately, it was just a big Instagram tease.
Yeah, I thought for sure that meant something.
Right, but unfortunately, no, we didn't get anything.
And that brings us to last night's show, which is last show to review here, which was Virginia Beach, which, you know, these North Carolina, Virginia Beach, all very close, obviously, at least geographically, in comparison to other venues close to their hometown. They're in lieu of Seville. This is kind of a hometown show, you would think, right? Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I mean, Bristow is the closest, and usually Bristow is the kind of the one, but Bristow had a rough time this year, so it makes sense that maybe Virginia Beach gets a little bit of love.
So we got some interesting comments, and so we have to, when we enter the set list, we have to write up the little summary that goes out to Twitter and Facebook and the hub. This is an interesting one to write the summary for.
Why is that?
I don't want to come off as negative at all. At the same time, this is not Ronald McDonald's happy, fun house where everything is, sweetness and lights like some people might think, so.
What, every show isn't the best show ever?
What's remarkable about this show, Joe? That's a serious question. That's what I ask myself when I try to enter the set list. Now, understand that I'm not at the show, so it's what's remarkable from a couch tour standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. From a couch tour standpoint is looking at the set. There's nothing, using that word, really. Remarkable, not even close. You could even take that word down to just like, what would be a thing less than remarkable? Like, a little special.
Joe Lawler.
Maybe that's a little bit better.
Joe Lawler played on Cornbread. I mean, that's remarkable, and I remarked on it.
Yeah, you remarked on it. Well, I actually wonder. It was, yes, they add Joe normally to a show that's in Virginia because he normally has some hometown, friends or what at the show, and I don't know if he gets to pick or Dave just likes to treat him or what it is. And I guess maybe just quickly, Joe Lawler, you mentioned, maybe people have heard the name and don't really know what the relation is, but Joe Lawler is a crew member on the band, has been one of the longtime crew members, been with them nearly from the start. I don't know what year he started, but it was definitely very early days from Charlottesville, Virginia. His role in the crew, from my uneducated thing and just knowing, but he's in charge of all of the digital recording of the performances. So he is side stage, horn side stage with all the audio guys, and he's there to make sure that they archive digitally all the performance. And so he monitors that. I think he also helps with the band's posting of set lists. So Joe's done that, but he's an extremely talented guitarist, plays a number of different types of guitar. He plays in bands in Charlottesville, Virginia, has guested a number of times. And so if you haven't, you may have heard the name of Joe Lawler and he's guesting, there's a little bit of tidbit. But I wonder, was it only just that the band was put in Virginia, or maybe did Dave also think like this show needs a little bit something more? Because like you said, if the most remarkable or thing to mention about this show is that Joe Lawler guested,
I don't think so at all.
doesn't say a lot. So I mean, the stats don't lie about this show, right, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got basically the song with the least amount of plays was Watchtower. That closed the main set, which I thought was maybe the other most notable thing about the show. That a song that has historically been a monster closer actually closed the show this tour. So whether that's remarkable because of the lack of it or otherwise is up to you. Dig in a Ditch has been played 4 times. Other than that, the song that's gone the longest time since last being played, this is remarkable that you said this. You pointed this out, Joe. So Much to Say was the song that had the longest layoff prior to its last time being played. That was 4 shows ago, in 6 days. So
every song in that show had been played within 3 shows or less, except for that one song, 3 shows or less.
Yep.
And 15, I think it is, like 15 of the 19 songs were all played 10 or more times. Most of them high teens or even in the 20s. So
11 or more. Yeah.
Very tour heavy songs. So I mean, they're good songs. Again, this is couch tour, and this is just looking at variety. I mean, there's some power songs on there and it's songs that people want to hear. But as far as getting something special, they didn't necessarily get something special.
Well, and it's the band willing to mix it up every night, and this is the reason. This is the reason when I say after SPAC, I'm cautiously optimistic that this tour has turned a corner. Mm-hmm. Why an egg like this needs to be laid, I'll never know the answer. But this is why I am not hot to try. People, SPAC comes out, hey Matt, you happy? And I get that. It's like, well, yes, I am. They're playing good songs, and my friends are getting good shows. I'm happy. I'm a fan of this band. And then this turns around. Do you want me to go, hey, are you happy? You're getting the same turd. I don't like this. That show, if I was, I don't know. I wouldn't be. Okay, let's let the tweeters speak for themselves. We wrote Virginia Beach Seas tour standard set list, but gets a Watchtower closer. Joe Lawler surprises as a guest on Cornbread. That was our summary. We got 2 or 3 comments. Evan Weiss said, I was there, and we should call it what it was. Garbage.
Wow.
And then Glenn Lastbeer writes, tour standard is an awful, awful thing to say about this band, and it's 100% correct.
Ooh, wow.
Yes.
Is the other one positive?
No, the other one was is it GIF or GIF? A GIF?
Okay.
Of Stephen Colbert saying it's a hot pile of garbage.
Oh, geez. So Twitter was harsh, I see. And the set list didn't have the variety. I think
it's not all bad.
What's that?
I want to kind of keep it balanced here. There's a gentleman who goes by Todd Koval who says, ugh, sharing my disgust on Twitter instead of the Book of Face because I'd get kicked out of my group. But listening to them bitch, pardon me, about a DMB show breaks my heart. How dare you people? I was exhausted after just 2 straight shows. Imagine how the band feels.
What? Wait, he's saying that the exhaustion is a reason?
How dare you critique? How dare you? How dare you?
I know he said how dare you critique, but what's the exhausted after 2 shows comment?
Apparently going to them.
But you imagine how the band feels?
Imagine how the band, if he's just tired going to shows, how tired is the band?
Is that what he's implying? Or is he that's what I think he's implying, which is shocking. I mean, you're saying the band is tired. They have had a long run here recently, but ouch. I mean, if that was to say, hey, if you see the bands coming to your town after a long stretch, should you be worried for the show and not go? Or was he just saying, hey, imagine how the band feels when they see these people's comments? And I know people say that frequently too, that people have opinions and the band doesn't want to see people's opinions. They don't only want to see positivity. Okay, then you can say that, but the band being tired, geez, I hope that's not the reason that we're given. I know on our Instagram page, some people that were at the show, they did say they had a blast, and you get that, and that's awesome. People, that's great. We're just looking from setlist standpoint, looking at the numbers, a little rough.
So at this stage, I don't know what I figure to the rest of the tour, which my goodness is nearly over. We are about 3/4 of the way through almost. Mm-hmm. Yep, we got 14 shows remaining. I am going to predict
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's hear this. Yes, I'm
Yep.
ready. What are you predicting?
I'm going to predict that we're going to get a few more layups like this. We are. They're going to continue to. They're going to go on another little spurt where they're going to have a few songs they break out.
Are you willing to call where that's going to be?
I am not optimistic about the Gorge 3-night set list stand. I'm not.
Well, that's good. I like keeping the expectations low so that they can be exceeded. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm good with that.
I have no reason to be optimistic. Let's put it that way. Recent history, but I think what you're going to do is exactly what we feared. Is we are going to get some tour debuts, but it's not going to be with Bartender and The Stone and JTR also in the set list. You're going to get 2 or 3 of those songs only.
Okay.
You're not going to. They're not. We want them to sprinkle that stuff in and spread it out, but they're not. They're going to replace those slots with other debuts.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Yep, that's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you can really break down the rest of this tour into just like little chunks.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we have coming up here Charlotte, Tampa, and then the Florida run, Tampa, and the 2 West Palms, in which actually, from what I know, that Charlotte to Tampa is like a nightmare for the crew. I don't think it's too big. That turnaround between those 2 shows is going to be a nightmare. I don't think it's that big of a deal for the band. I think they probably just end up flying, and it's probably no big deal. But to get from Charlotte to Tampa and turn around a stage setup is a little bit of a nightmare. Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, I got Tampa, the 2-night West Palm Beach, and then immediately following it, the day after West Palm Beach, they run over to Alabama.
The makeup show.
That makeup show. So that's the next chunk right there that they take there.
I got to be honest.
What?
I pity those poor Alabama people.
I mean,
because
I thought
listen,
the same thing,
the original plan was they're out of Palm Beach and they have nearly a month off until they resume in Colorado. Now they got an extra show that is a reschedule. Lord have mercy on you folks because this is going to be MCI Center Winter Tour 2002 after the James Brown party up in Madison Square Garden. You guys are going to get an egg. And I would love to be proven wrong. You're talking about
a little bit of a hangover.
Oh, my goodness. I would love to be wrong, but they are going to. They might do half the show from the bus on the way out. They might. I really hope I'm wrong, but if I'm right, let's go back and clip this and put this on Instagram.
Yeah, I think we all want to be wrong here, but I'm on the same page. Like that show. Normally the band ends that break. The early August break, they end in West Palm. I think some of the crew, some of the families stick around, hang out in Florida, enjoy like the summer. And now to say, nope, you're not going to get to do that. We're going to jump on a bus or a plane and get over to Alabama to do a show. Wow. Buzzkill, big time buzzkill. When it's like you're right when you're about to go on your vacation, you're checking out of work and you're about to go on vacation, and your boss says, "No, before you leave, I need you to do X, Y, Z." You're like, "Are you kidding me?"
They might get Do You Remember twice that show.
I hope Alabama, as a result of the reschedule, because you would hope my shows got rescheduled, so the band's gonna bring something extra special because
right. We're sorry, we're sorry that had to happen. We're gonna make it up for you.
But
there are people who can't go to the show. Clearly, I mean, there are certain people who got tickets who probably had to sell them because
there's a ton of people that traveled. People are making little summer vacations down there in Alabama. I saw when we posted it was canceled, man. Instagram and Twitter were lit up with people like, no, don't cancel it. The storm's not going to be here for another 24 hours. I traveled, from New Jersey to go to the show.
That's too bad.
Yeah, they were not happy. And I assume it's tough to get back just for a show. They would probably have to cancel and sell your tickets or get a refund. So let's hope we're wrong there. But then after the break, then it's, the Colorado tour, the 2 Colorado shows, and then they do the Bend and then the 3 Gorge shows, that little breakup. And then the final ones, the Reno, Shoreline, and Hollywood. So we got, whatever that breaks down to 4 chunks of shows here left. There's not a lot of time left.
Nope. But one thing I also do like is we've got multiple night shows coming up, and that's always the most fun, especially from a couch tour standpoint, which does translate to venue enjoyment as well when you've got setlist variety. So when they're kind of forced to go into their head a little deeper, it's exciting to see what's coming.
Yeah. Forced. Wow. Yeah. I mean,
I don't.
hope it's
I
not
guess
forced.
I didn't mean it how it came out, but my point remains. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's take a quick little break here, just like 1 minute, just to catch back up here. We're going to talk about. Well, Dave's talking about Boyd in interviews a little bit more, opening up a little bit, which kind of caught us by surprise this last week. And we got a little bit more, and we got some listener questions as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. I'm still streaming, just stopping the recording.
All good.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
What are you looking? You want to skip this?
Yeah. I mean, people want to
Yeah.
talk about it, but probably
It's
not.
Gone. Skip this.
Yep.
Okay.
We already did that.
I do that. So
I'm
cool.
tired. I'm tired, just so you know. I kind of want to get through it.
All good.
All right. We're ready?
I'm ready.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us through that little break there. Thanks again to our folks on YouTube Live watching us. Definitely hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when we go live, there's also like a bell right next to the subscription button. And that should give you an idea of when we go live. You should be notified with an alert. Okay, so since our last podcast, there were a couple of interviews Dave did. One with NPR and another with... this in the studio thing, right? This iHeartRadio inside the studio. It's a new podcast.
Yep. Dave's only like the second or third episode ever on it.
Yep. So Forbes.com did a write-up. I don't know how these companies work together or whatever, but Forbes was the one who put the initial transcript stuff out.
Yeah, I've learned now through this that Forbes is like a guest writer thing. People submit articles to Forbes and they choose what to publish. There's I don't know how much original content they do.
Okay. Well, he does talk about Boyd, and I'll be honest. We're going to read it a little bit here. It's on our front page too as a news story, but I think this is much ado about nothing. I don't think there's a whole lot more there than we've already arrived at, given his previous interviews and just. What do you think, Joe? Did you think this was, big revelations?
Not revelations, but I kind of think, what did we learn new there?
Right.
And by the way, you mentioned the Forbes has got like kind of a recap, a couple excerpts just written up as an article. The audio of the podcast is available. It's about 45 minutes. It is a lot of rehash, especially for an existing DMB fan. It is tailored to a non-DMB fan, somebody that maybe is not exposed to them, so it goes into their history a little bit. But Boyd comes up, and I would say maybe that's the biggest takeaway. It seemed that Dave kind of went into a little bit more expanding of just, hey, this is something that was being thought of for a long time, and I didn't really have the gusto to pull the trigger and tell Boyd, like, you need to take a break. I think it was too sentimental, maybe, and just some of the latest stuff just finally gave him the moment to just say, now's the time. I think that's kind of new. I think we maybe speculated, we just hear from Dave that it was more like you saw the struggle he had, and then it pretty much like a decision was made, like whether or not you want to. I think you maybe want to work on your family and work at home, but we are definitely going to tell you to work on your family and home now. It's not just up to you anymore.
Right. And I think the band is probably, Dave, frustrated that all the other legal stuff surrounding Boyd came out around the same time, because it sounds like this was strictly a musicmanship decision, and now this news dropping about Boyd just muddles the waters, and no matter what they say, the speculation is there, no matter what. Yep. And, from following the band closely, talking to people close to the band for a lot of years, the line about him, his performance and the band's frustration with it, that's true. That's true. We don't need to put anybody's name out there, but to us who follow the band pretty religiously and talk with a lot of people who are in the know, that's absolutely true. So I can imagine if I were faced with having to kind of push out Boyd on an ice floe, so to speak, and kind of just put him out to pasture and kind of do his own thing, for this to come up around that time, oh man, what a frustrating thing to have to deal with, because no matter what the actual truth behind the scenes is, your motives are questioned, no doubt.
Yep.
And it's frustrating because I think anybody who's listened to this band in the last 6 to 8 years can pretty much objectively come to the conclusion that Boyd is a shell of his former self, at least from earlier years of the band.
Yeah, he definitely struggled. You know, he did have health issues with carpal tunnel or arthritis.
Yeah, whatever
in
the reason.
hands.
Whatever the reason.
Yeah, and because he shared that with us, and I think we noticed that he got better, and we're saying, wow, this is an improvement on Boyd. I don't think it was anything like it was in the past. Like you said, it was suffering. I guess what we learned maybe in this interview was it was even worse outside of the live show. Where Dave is saying Boyd would show up for the show sometimes, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't, but at least he was there for the show. But the things outside of the live show, like studio time or other kind of things that they had to do as a band, I think Dave says he was pretty absent, not there mentally for those kind of things. And I could see that. That doesn't surprise me at all, but to hear Dave say it, and so album work probably wasn't taking as serious. All we saw was the live show, because that's the part that we get exposed to.
Right.
But Dave seems to confirm that outside of that, it was even worse.
Yeah, it's good to see a little bit more information. I think the more the band says about this, the better. I don't really think there's as much risk to going into it. And I think that is wholly due to the legal side of Boyd's issues. I think if none of that was out there, maybe there's not a lot to gain from really telling your story. But I think with that out there, I think it's better the more that's said rather than let it stew and get speculated upon. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm glad we got a little bit more. I mean, they're still not being completely transparent as far as all the historic over the past years, but you can only do so much.
That's the case with. I can't imagine it's unique to this band, right? I mean, there's always a behind the scenes, and if everybody knew the behind the scenes to all their favorite bands, they probably wouldn't be their favorite bands anymore. I mean, there's ugly stuff that happens in every circle, right?
You don't want to see the sausage being made?
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, it was good to hear. So we have some setlist game developments here.
Ooh.
And if you follow us on the Twitter, we see we've got a winner from last night's set. Was our own Heartbreak Kid, Tony B. Anthony. Now, you've met Anthony, right?
Correct.
You know this guy's a Jets fan, right? He's instantly jumped levels. When I saw that avatar and he's got a Jets hat on, I'm like, my man! That's Tony B. out there. Jets, Jets. How's it going, buddy?
He won last night, and I think that's his first win of the tour, right?
It was, yes. It was.
Which is going to help him because he needs to make up this differential. He's doing good. 6th place at the moment, so climbing.
Tied for 5th, actually.
Oh, tied for 5th. Thank you.
Yep.
But still, what? 54 points behind.
56. Yeah.
56 points. Something like that. Yeah. He's got a way to go, and like you said, 14 shows left to get 50 some points. What's the math on that?
No, you need about 4 points a show to bridge
over
that
the
gap.
leaders.
Yep, the leaders who just, if the sets let's stay like they did last night, Tony ain't the only one getting 50-something points. So that's basically what he's groused about too. And if you look at Tony's stats, he has 15 fewer spots than the leader, which represents a gap of 60 points.
Yep.
There you go.
So we talked about this tour could be broken down into 4 more remaining segments. It's really going to be who can ride the small changes that the band does in these 4 segments, and whoever can predict the best and what the band might do different between those, better than the other ones, is really who's going to come out. I mean, like, what do you think the Vegas odds are right now for the Heartbreak Kid to make it to the top?
To win the league.
If
I had to set odds right now.
Yeah, 14 shows, 50, 60 points.
He's probably a 20-1 favorite right now.
Favorite 20?
Well, no, I said 20-1.
Favorite.
Well, I meant that in terms of 20-1 for him to win.
Okay, odds are 20-1.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Got it. So yeah, he's got some work to do. That's still pretty not too bad.
Well, I mean, I take his history into it. He's he's usually a wire-to-wire kind of guy.
Yep.
So to see him coming in from the underdog position is interesting, but it's a great dynamic. When I saw his name up there this morning, I think you sent me the text, right?
Yeah. He's there he is. I mean, but the top 5 are no slouches either. They're frequents up there. Do you want to run through the other top 5?
Yeah, so you know who's not like LAA 1305, our leader this year? They're not a frequent, are they?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about that pod. You said you thought you remembered them. I guess we have to look up to see how past finishes are. But
it's not ringing a bell. If you're out there, shoot us an email. Hit us at podcast@antsmarching.org, and we'd love to chat with you. Maybe even bring you on the show. But they're still in the lead. They've got 972 points. Remember, just a few shows ago, they had a 50 or 60 point lead, which is kind of unprecedented in the setlist game. It's never that much of a blowout. But now that lead has been trimmed to 8. We are single digits. Jimmy Thing 314.
And I can give you an update.
Yeah.
LAA 1305 in the summer of 16, Summer Tour 16, finished 5th place.
5th place. Okay, so they're a baller. They're a gamer.
Yes.
So Jimmy Thing 314 is right behind them with 964 points, 8 points shy. 3 points shy back there is setlist game stalwart Crash 1983 plus member, by the way. Thank you very much.
Plus
at 961, so 8 and then a gap of 3 to Crash. He's got 961 points, and then there's a bit of a buffer. There's 32 point drop then to J Money DMB at 929. And then sits Tony with M-ish 84 at 916 each. So the top 3 are pretty tight. 11 points separates the top 3.
You think Heartbreak, J Money and M-ish are no slouches, but you think Heartbreak can at least, what are the odds just to jump past them? He needs an extra 13 points.
I put him at 3-1 to leap them.
Okay.
Anybody want? I can book too. Not officially, if anybody's listening from the Fed, but. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting here. These next strips. We knew it was going to be a race here at the end, and definitely the top 3 is going to be fun. There's definitely a hunt happening, so it's going to be fun to see how this tour wraps up on the setlist game.
Yep. Let's go to some questions here. We have a few here. DMB Mike 40 writes to Ants on Twitter, and if you want your questions answered, you need to use the hashtag Ants Podcast. Not hashtag Ants Podcasts, plural, even though I'm going to answer that question, by the way. But anyway, so DMB Mike asked, I have a Samsung phone. What's the cheapest Apple product I can buy just to use the Ants Hub? Would like to see my badges. Well, first of all, Mike, that's flattering.
That's very flattering.
Yeah. So to answer your question, this is something that I talked about with our moderator, Jen Henson, also about this. She was wondering the same thing. Right now, it looks like the iPod Touch, but it must be the 6th generation. So the 6th generation can run iOS 10 and 11, and we'll be able to run iOS 12 when it comes out in the fall. The DMB Hub requires at least iOS 10, which is last year's, that's almost 2 years old now, OS, to run. That's all. So basically, the iPhone 5S and up, you can run iOS 10 on. On the iPod Touch side of things, that's the 6th generation. So get like a 16 gigabyte, the smallest one, 6th generation. You can find them usually. I saw a couple for $60 last week, but I'm seeing them on offer up and whatnot for about $100 to $140 now. So that would be your cheapest option. We did have somebody else.
Those things retain some price value. I'm surprised the older phones.
They do. We had somebody ask us. I'm scrolling now yesterday on Twitter. I can't find it, but somebody did ask if we could. Are the stuff? They understand that it's a pain to write another app like an Android app, but is it possible the stubs might come to the website? And I would say the answer there is maybe. I don't know yet. It would be certainly easier than writing an Android app.
Yes,
but
that's something to think about. And you don't even have to get your own product. If you know anybody in your circle that has an iPhone, ask if they'll let you download it on their phone. You can log in as you and kind of play around, and you're good.
And then go to your stubs and then share them out. So send yourself a text message with your stub images. You can do that.
Yep,
you can do that.
So cheap option.
You want to take the next question, Joe?
Sure. Podcast favorite Matt Voltz asks, what do you guys know about the Leaked '06 studio track listings. Is there a story or recording? Is it legit? Well, Matt, you told me not to talk about this, and I just read the question.
I saw that.
So now we're forced to talk about it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to talk about it mostly because it's a big topic, I would say, and I'm tired. It's 100% speculation right now. 100% speculation. There are some people in the know who claim to have where a couple of these tracks are actually corroborated. Like, yes, those are real tracks and nobody knows about them up to this point. So we do have multiple sources where people have claimed to at least some legitimacy. The story goes, some gal on Facebook said, I've got these 3 discs, and they're supposedly from the Batson studio sessions, whether 06, 07, and in that time frame, 05, 06, 07. And she was going to sell them, and then supposedly management got a hold of her and shut it down because people in the community just can't help but yap. I don't know. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen, so I don't know how much worth it is to chat about it. Yeah. But Joe doesn't seem to think any of the tracks are legit. I know at least 2 of them are. So whatever that's worth.
I mean, there's a lot of things that make me question it.
Oh, speculation's skepticism is certainly well warranted here as a default position.
These things happen. This is not new. Silly stuff like this comes up. People enjoy trolling the community. Or just even trolling a friend. The person that's posting it might not even know, might think that they're legit, but they're got a joke from somebody else. I don't know that there's just a lot of things that don't add up related to the story. And, they were being sold for a ridiculous amount of price. No kind of authenticity or clip was provided. You think just a lot of things. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are in the know and know some of the song titles of that band has recorded, and maybe somebody in the know used those things to help, drive this story.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I know something, all of a sudden because I see a couple tracks on there that I know the band recorded, all of a sudden now that gives this whole thing legitimacy just because it has 2 tracks. It just why are these discs there? How did they get there? Why are they in the condition that they are? I wouldn't overfocus on it.
Joe, that wet blanket of yours has a lot of wrinkles. You might want to do something about that.
I think our best way of hearing some of that is actually through Batson himself. He seems pretty interested to be wanting to share some of this in a limited capacity, maybe in just a listening party format, not like on a digital, like people can spread it, but seems like he's willing to want to share some of these things, especially when this tour, I think, calms down. So, if anything, that's our best bet is hoping that Batson's willing to share some of this with some fans.
That'd be nice. Nate MCC asks, any Gorge meetup or podcast events scheduled? This is a fun topic and one we're going to be talking about more and more as it approaches.
Matt and I have on our to-do list to work through some of the things that we want to pull together for the Gorge, and open to ideas if you guys got some. I think the extent that we have at this point is we are meeting up with some of the team from Ants at the top of the hill. Hopefully get to see a lot. We have a lot of the team, a lot of the moderators are going to be at the Gorge, hoping to get together for that. And I think that's on the books. And I think without a doubt, there will be some version of content production, whether it's a podcast, video cast, something. What it is, we have to figure that out. Brainstorming has just started about this now.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel there to get alerts, because chances are if something spontaneous happens at the Gorge, there's not going to be a lot of time to start trying to get the word out. It's just going to happen. So definitely subscribe to us on our social channels.
Like it. Want a question?
Yeah.
This one, AMG or Brewski77 has asked, I'd like to see 2 sets return next year. What are your thoughts, Joe and Matt? Hashtag Ants Podcasts, which Matt has given the one-time exception rule to using the wrong hashtag. So I will say Ants Podcast. 2 sets returning. I liked it that we did it for a couple years there. I think the 1 set's working fine. I'm not sure I don't really particularly
not?
like the what?
Why not?
The acoustic. Did you really think the acoustic added a lot?
Variety.
Got more. We got a little bit more variety. I
That's
guess.
all at this point. That's all I care about because you know what?
But we don't need to have 2 sets for variety. We can do variety.
Apparently, we do.
No, I think.
Listen.
Yeah.
If it means the horn section goes away for at least 8 songs a show, I want it.
They don't go away. That doesn't happen. No, that's not happening. No, I mean, I don't know. You want to know what my actual preference would be? Is bring back openers. And that might sound weird, but I would like the show to start earlier. Open the gates earlier. Put an opener on at 7. Maybe we get Matt to do some DJing up there.
Oh,
maybe and bring the party. Yes, scribble. I would like that, and then obviously I want more variety in the main set. So if we can get that without having to do 2 sets, I will take that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting thing for the band to do that have had. Outside of Dave coming out doing a few songs in the early 90s and then the band one by one joining him on the stage, which was a really cool way of doing things. I thought this was a massive departure from the previous 20 years of touring, and I thought that was cool. Variety in tour design, so to speak, which is less of a hot button issue. But yeah.
True. Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'd feel. I think I could be persuaded either way. AMG didn't. Brewski 77 to give us his opinion or her opinion.
Nope.
It would have been nice to know that.
Nope. Well, speaking of this tour, and somebody asked about the iPhone or what the cheapest iOS device is, and that if you're not familiar, we do have an app called DMB Hub. It's free on the iOS App Store, and you should definitely download it because you can play the set list game like we talked about. You can get news. You can get push notifications. You can watch this live set list, look at stats on the show when you're watching it. You can collect what's called stubs, which are basically little badges that you can earn based on the shows that you've seen. You can sign up for Ants Plus, which is basically the site supporters club that allows you to view the site and the app without any ads. So it's ad-free experience. You get access to a private forum just for Ants Plus members. You get your own, you get a stub for that. And we usually, this live streaming that we're doing with the podcast, typically in the past we've done it just for Plus members. We've opened it up, but that might go back actually as things kind of change and move. We're not sure. But it does help keep the site running, help keep support development and the server costs and hosting costs and all of that kind of stuff. So if you like the app, sign up for Ants Plus. You can do it right within the app. Little tip here: I just submitted a new build to the store last night that I'm hoping to be approved over the next day or two. On your watch, you can see that there's the latest show thing, but the app itself stopped updating. So there's a fix for that, and that's coming. That's coming for the set list. But we've got 3 new stubs coming also. Yet again.
Ooh,
yet again.
3 new stubs.
That Mono Loco party that we were talking about earlier in the episode. If you were at that party and registered, guess what? You got a stub coming your way.
Yes.
Boom. Yep. So we got that. We've got another one called, I'll say what it is, Joe, and you can tell me if you guess what it is. It's going to be called Ate the Worm. Ate the Worm, and it's a logo of a little tequila bottle.
Does that mean you went to one of the Mexico shows?
You are good at this game. You are good. Yes, it does. You've seen the band or Dave and Tim, most likely, in Mexico.
Have you eaten the worm?
I've never eaten the worm. I don't like tequila.
Oh.
And you mean do I have the badge? No, I don't have that either. And we have one more, and I'm not decided on the name of the badge yet. But it is similar. It is for seeing the band in Europe. So if you've seen the band perform in Europe, and I know you've gained that badge, right, Joe?
I have.
I have to come up with a stub that you can't get.
You have other stubs I can't get. There's plenty of stubs.
Not be Polish, maybe.
Yeah, change that.
But we're red hot with the stubs, and we're trying to add more and more. So when that new version drops, we'll start granting the badge out there, and it should be fun when people start collecting those. So yeah, I've also updated it where you can see more stubs without scrolling. So right now I think there's like, unless you have a Plus phone, if you have just a regular iPhone or the 10, it's 3 stubs across in each row. I've shrunk it a little bit to make it 4. So it's just a better use of space. Just a little cosmetic tweak there. But again, more stuff coming on the hub. We're looking forward to fleshing out the In the Spotlight, where we kind of put an older or just whatever cool show up to stream that's not just a tour stream, just something from the archives. It should be a lot of fun. So keep an eye on that. And again, if you like it and want to support us, feel free to sign up for Plus. We got, like you already mentioned, the upcoming shows, Joe. Do you have anything else you want to touch on?
I don't think so. So the next 4 shows are going to be interesting. Like I said, quick turnaround between Charlotte and Tampa, which I don't know. That's hard on the crew for Tampa. Hopefully the band doesn't get affected in Tampa. And then our final 2-night stand before the break, and then that Alabama show that we're going to be crossing our fingers that doesn't get the short straw.
Most definitely. Well, if you're out there on tour, whether it's on the couch or on the road, we urge you to be careful and have a great time out there. No signs. We saw a sign for "Come on, come on" in the pit from last night.
Wow. Didn't take long.
So I guess we'll see. So hopefully they'll get "Come on, come on." I mean, who knows? You got about a 50% chance at this point. So I'm waiting to see a Samurai Cop sign, because that's really,
oh my gosh,
that's really.
Please play Samurai Cop. That is hilarious.
This has been Ants Podcast 96. Thanks everybody for joining us. Joe, thank you for joining. It's good.